Let me tell you a story. During World War II, British planes returned from bombing runs riddled with bullet holes. Wings torn, tails shredded, whole sections missing. Engineers scrambled to fix the issue. They reinforced the wings, the tail, the fuselage, but no matter how much armor they added, planes kept falling. Until one engineer, quiet, observant, asked a different question. He noticed something odd. The returning planes were always hit in the same places, but not in the cockpit. That's when it clicked. They weren't seeing the planes that didn't return, the ones that were hit in the cockpit, because those didn't make it back. So what did they do? They stopped trying to fix the damage they could see and protected the one thing that actually mattered: the cockpit. The result? Survival rates soared. Now, why do I tell you this? Because most of us spend our whole lives reinforcing the wrong parts of our story. We try to fix what we can see: the stress, the breakup, the job we hate, without ever asking, am I fixing the real problem, or just the visible one? Let me explain. Your partner leaves you. And what do? You buy flowers. You write love letters. You fight to get them back. But what if the problem wasn't that they left? What if the problem was the version of yourself they were leaving? Not because you are not worthy, but because you stop showing up as your best self? Same with your job. You feel overwhelmed. You blame the pressure, the deadlines, the manager. So you polish your resume and look for something new. But what if it's not the job? What if it's your inability to set boundaries, to say no, to manage stress? See, the real damage is often invisible. Because what breaks us is not always what hits us directly. Sometimes it's what we ignore, over and over again. So how do you know if you're fixing the wrong thing? Start with your language. Seriously. Start listening to yourself. What words do you say to others? What words do you say to yourself? My neighbor, bless him, calls everything shit. The weather? Shit. His job? Shit. His back pain? You guessed it. Now ask yourself, what kind of life do you think he's reinforcing with those words? Or take my brother. Laid off at 50, applied to dozens of jobs, rejected again and again. And what did he start saying? I'm too old. I'm not that sharp anymore. I guess no one wants me. Not facts, just words. But words with weight. Because words don't just describe your world. They build it. Every sentence you speak is a blueprint for how your nervous system operates, how your body reacts, how your energy flows. And no, I'm not saying positive words magically fix everything. If your bank account is empty, chanting abundance isn't going to summon $1 million out of nowhere. But changing your words can change your state, and your state can change your actions, and your actions, they build your outcomes. So yeah, better words won't wire you a fortune, but they'll help wire the mindset you need to create one. It starts with how you speak, how you think, how you interpret what's happening around you. Because when you say, I'm too oldie, you stop trying. When you say, this always happens to me, you surrender. But when you say, this is hard, but I've done hard things before, you rewire your resilience. When you say, I don't know yet, instead of I can't, you give yourself space to grow. That's not fluff. That's neuroscience. So if you're stuck, if you're frustrated, if you feel like nothing's changing, stop adding armor to the wings. Look at the cockpit. Look at what's vital. Look at the language you use to describe your world, your worth, your future. Because maybe the real problem isn't the pain you feel, it's the story you tell about it. And maybe the solution isn't a bigger shield, but a better sentence. And if you want a place to begin, try this one. What if the real problem isn't what happened to me, but how I've been trained to think about it? Now that's a story worth rewriting. Let me take it one step further. You've probably heard of Dr. Masaru Emoto. He was a Japanese scientist. But more than that, he was curious. He wanted to know something most people never even think to ask. Do our thoughts and emotions have a physical effect on water? So he tested it. He exposed water to different emotions: anger, hate, joy, love. And then he froze it, put it under a microscope, and what he saw was stunning. Water exposed to gratitude, to compassion, formed crystals that looked like snowflakes, intricate, symmetrical, beautiful. Water exposed to rage, disgust, and fear, chaotic, dark, fragmented. Now here's the part that matters. Your body is 55 to 65% water. So if words and emotions can change water molecules, what do you think happens when the words you use are violent, toxic, relentless, and aimed at yourself? You wake up and say, "This day's gonna be shit. I'm so tired of this job. People are idiots. I'll never be good enough." What do you think that language does to your mind, your nervous system, your body? Because it does something. And no, this isn't New Age spiritual fluff. This is chemistry. This is neurobiology. This is how your body responds to input. So let me ask you, what story are you soaking yourself in? Because here's what I see every day. People who don't smoke, don't drink, they eat clean. They go to the gym 5 times a week. But their language? Toxic, critical, exhausted. They complain all day. They curse everything. They judge everyone. And they wonder why they feel like shit. Because here's the truth. Your words are your world. They're the soundtrack playing in your head 24/7. And your nervous system, it's listening. The words you speak are the script your body follows. So if your life feels heavy, look at your language. You want to change your life? Change your words. Let me tell you what that looked like for me. It was the early 1990s. I had just started my first company. I was young, driven, and, like most entrepreneurs back then, health was not exactly the priority. Late nights, pizza, beer, a pack of cigarettes always within reach. But hey, that's what being a real entrepreneur looked like, right? Hard work, stress, long hours. It came with the territory. Or so I thought. Until 2 years in, I'd gained more than 10 kilos. My energy was down. My moods were short. But I didn't question it because it fit the story I told. I'm an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are always tired, always stressed, always sacrificing something. That was my label. And then one day, I added one word. Just one. Sportive. I'm a sportive entrepreneur. And everything changed. I started moving more. I made time for exercise, not out of guilt, but identity. I started eating better, sleeping better, thinking better, all from one word, because I wasn't just doing different things. I saw myself differently, and that new identity came with a new story. So let me ask you, what's one word you can add to your story that makes you stronger? Kind, curious, calm, resilient, joyful, aligned. Pick one. Try it. Say it. Because I promise you, it's not just a word. It's a lever. And when you pull that lever, your story shifts. Your chemistry shifts. And before long, so does your life.